Hello Facebook, it's Ingrid here. I am, as always, checking to see if I am on because it takes a minute. If there's anybody there, I would love if you would join me and say hey in the comments. Let's see, where is it? Because I'm using something else. So I'm all about testing and trying out new things, and so this week I'm testing and trying. Oh, yep, I can hear myself. Okay, so I feel like I'm going live on the page, and hopefully y'all can see me. If there's anybody there in the comments, go ahead and say hello. I can't see if there's anybody there yet, so we'll get jumped in, and of course you can watch the replay on this. It will be on the page for a little while, and whoops, wrong way, fixing myself. So, good morning and welcome to Biz Chat Tuesdays. My name is Ingrid Owens and I am a business coach and marketing strategist for creative entrepreneurs. And so in these little Biz Chat Tuesdays, I'm just picking a topic that has come up in my business or that people have asked me questions about, and we're just going to riff with it. Hey Linda, good morning. It's great to see you there. I can see you in the comments, so I'm glad you can hear me loud and clear. It's always nice to be talking to somebody. So the question today is, or the topic today is, how do we approach getting and doing all of the things, right, as an entrepreneur? Because especially when you're starting out in business and you're a solopreneur, for the want of a better word, you've got to do a lot of different things. You've got to wear a lot of different hats, okay? Not only are you the person in your job or in your business who is doing the thing, providing the service, making the goods, actually being the person who is the business in a way. Not only are you doing that, you also have to grow the business and market the business and make sure it stays profitable and keep an eye on the accounts and hire anybody and be responsible for distribution and all of the things that go to take up what actually running a business is all about. And it can be very overwhelming. And especially when you're just starting out, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to have time to do all the things. One of the reasons why we get into this entrepreneurship malarkey is to have more time and more freedom, not just to make more money, right? But when we have, when you're doing your business, often you'll find yourself up early in the morning, doing late hours, trying to fit it all in. And this happened to me a lot when I was starting out, and I would be like, the whole reason I did this was that I could actually have some more freedom and flexibility in my schedule. And I had the flexibility, but I still had to do everything. So I was doing a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, and trying to get it all done. And so the first thing, I've got 5 different things that I want to talk about and 5 tips to help you get it all done. But actually 4 if we don't count the first one. So the first thing is really, though, to question, should you be getting it all done, or do you need to even be doing all the things? And this is something that, if we don't sit down and kind of sit with it for a minute, we can get lost in the day-to-day. I've got to update Pinterest, I got to do Facebook, I've got to do this, I got to right? And you get lost in all the things. And we forget, if we pull back and just look for a minute, strategically speaking, do you need to be doing all the things? Do you need to be doing all of the different social media platforms? Do you need to be doing and continuing the way that you've been doing things in the past? Now, strategically, to look at this, you need to have metrics and to be able to see if it's actually giving you a return on your investment of time. So if you are, say, you have chosen that Instagram is your platform, are you posting on there regularly? Are you getting the engagement? Is it worth your time? Are those engagements turning into fans or followers or sales? Are you tracking all of that? Okay, so if you're on a place or on a social media platform, make sure you're on there for a very specific reason and you're tracking the outcome of what you're doing on there, right? I would really caution you if you're on all of the different places. It's just too much for one person. So pick one platform and really go deep with it and spend your time on that. And then once you've given it a good test, that however it is for long that you feel it is for your own business, that you can say, no, I've done everything. I've posted the way that I'm supposed to be posted. I'm engaging. I'm commenting. I'm liking. And it's a two-way street. It's not just you all putting out stuff there all the time. When you've looked at that, and you can sit back and go, yeah, this is a good place for me to spend my time, or it's not. Maybe it doesn't feel good. Like, I know for myself, Twitter, I have all the handles on all of the places. But Twitter isn't really somewhere that I like to engage. It's a lot of discourse and just a lot of chatter, and I don't have the time to sit there and follow up with it. So Twitter's not somewhere you'll see me, but I will be occasionally on Instagram, and I love Facebook and video. So I am on Facebook, and YouTube is kind of where I'm putting my focus. And it can be done in a quarterly or half yearly thing. So like, I have decided, especially this quarter, I'm focusing on Facebook and video, and then I'll test this, and if I don't get any kind of traction from it, then I'll change and do something else perhaps. So it's all about being strategic with your time in that regard. So question if you need to be doing all the things and be all the places. Along with that is it, do you need to be doing all of the things? Okay, do you need to be doing all of the things, and do you need to be doing all of the things, right? So perhaps there's things in your basket that you're doing that you could outsource to somebody. Right now, I'm looking to get an intern and to come on and help me with some of my posting and some of the back end stuff that I really don't need to be doing, and that it's really not a good use of my time, right? So my time is best used serving my coaching clients, creating the content, doing these videos, showing up in person and showing up on the phone and helping my people. It's not really used best to create graphics and mess around with my website and all of that. Even though I know how to do that stuff, it's not really the right use of my time. So it's better for me to spend a little money and outsource that, or have somebody come on full time to do that, or part time, or whatever. And there's so many different ways you can outsource tasks. There's a website called Fancy Hands, and they will post for you, or they will can do different tasks for you. You can hire somebody per hour. You can buy a block of somebody's time and tell them tasks that you can ask them to do. There's also Elance, which I don't think it's called Elance anymore. Maybe that's what turned into Fancy Hands. But there's Fiverr is a really popular one, where you just buy things for a Fiverr. So you might buy an intro to your video series, or you might get somebody to design banners or something like that for your social media. So that's another one, outsource. So that's kind of tied into the first one. Okay, so if you figured out these are the things that I need to be doing, and these are the things that are going to move the needle forward in my business, then it comes down to a time to prioritize, right? So prioritization will happen when you have decided, obviously, what your priorities are and why you actually want to be doing the things that you're doing. So if part of the reason is that you decided to have this business so that you could spend some more time with your children at home, then it doesn't make sense to be on your phone while they're sitting there with you, and you're not really totally engaged with them, right? You're on your phone, you're doing things, you're posting, da, da, da. For me, I have a hard cutoff in my time, my work day at 2 o'clock, because that's when my kids come home from school and I turn into mommy Ingrid. So for me, part of the reason why I'm an entrepreneur is that I can be more flexible and have time with my children. So that's my hard cutoff. Now, I've had to play with my schedule a lot. There are times when, my husband will take them, or they go to after school or something like that. So I have certain, parts of my week that I do evenings. But mostly I try and keep it my work day between 8 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is really a short day, but it really makes me focus on what specifically I am going to focus on, or what I need to focus on, the important things. Like, so for me, I've been talking about doing a Facebook Live, and I'm going to do lives, and I'm going to do videos, and it's been a long time for me to get around to doing it. But when I actually prioritize this and put it on my calendar, it's there. It's a non-negotiable now, and that's going to stay here. So I prioritize my family time, and then afterwards I prioritize the time in my business to do the things that are going to move the needle forward. Hey Deirdre, it's good to see you on here live too. So I prioritize the time that I'm doing the things that make the difference in my business. Really engaging and commenting and sharing, engaging and commenting with my followers and people that have questions and things. That's really a good use of my time, because I'm connecting with potential clients and people who, I just want to spread the word with my business. But if I have to be careful about getting onto Facebook and just aimlessly scrolling and not really actually doing anything. So I'd be very strategic with that sort of time. So prioritize. And that then leads me to the third thing, which is the calendar. My calendar, I use Google Calendar, and if something is not on there, then it doesn't even exist, right? In my life, if my husband tells me something's happening and he doesn't tell me to put it on the calendar, then as far as I'm concerned, it's not happening, right? It has to exist and live on my calendar. And when I put something on my calendar, I am absolutely committed to that. It takes everything. First of all, it takes it all out of my brain, because my brain's only so big, and it's not getting any bigger. It can only hold so much stuff. So put things on your calendar. If you don't use Google Calendar, I mean, I love Google Calendar because you've got several calendars within that. So you can have a specific calendar for family stuff, for, social media scheduling, for, anything that's happening in your business. You can really be specific with it, and you can show it all at one time, or you can show a little bit at a time. So I love Google Calendar. But if you're a pen and paper person, have your planner, write it all out. That's part of the process too. So schedule it is very important. Like, I even have now started, and only started, but I have started to schedule the time that I spend on Facebook. So it sounds ridiculous, but I will put that on my calendar, like on a particular time in the morning or in the afternoon, depending how it is. That's my time to do my social media stuff. And that way I commit to it, And then that kind of leads me to another sub point. I think I'm probably on more than 3 now. This is 3 part B. The commitment, right? So I deal a lot with in person, on the phone, talking to people, working with clients. So if somebody has booked me, I will show up for that time. That time is blocked off my calendar because I make a commitment to them, okay? And I want you to know that you should do the same and honor yourself with those commitments the same way as if you were honoring somebody else's time, right? So when I put my social media scheduling on the calendar, that's a commitment I'm making to myself to show up to do that. And the knock-on effect means that I'm not looking at my phone when I'm, trying to make dinner, and I'm not looking, at my phone when I'm putting my kids to bed. I'm there, right? So, but by honoring that commitment to myself when I have it on there, then I'm honoring the commitments to the family and all the rest of the stuff that are outside of the work hours. Does that make sense? Those boundaries? It's so important to do that, because, it's easy to give ourselves, I'm all about giving yourself grace, but it's easy to give yourself an out, right? To say, oh, well, I can't get to that. And, I can move stuff around, and you can move stuff around. That's the flexibility. You're the boss. You can do whatever you want, but honor yourself that you've shown up to do the work, and you've given yourself the time, you've blocked it off your calendar. So do it, be very careful of things that are like fear related, or, oh, I don't really want to make this phone call right now because of what? Maybe because how you're feeling, because it makes you feel weird or whatever. And then you push it off. That's not honoring your business. Remember where you were when you made those plans and you were in a good state of mind, and it was all about like how things were going to pan out, and you knew at that time when you were planning it that this was important and this had to happen. Okay, so stick to that plan. Be flexible, but stick to the plan. Okay, so and that kind of comes back to those boundaries again. So it's all kind of tied in together. So just to recap, okay, and if anybody has any questions, please type them in the chat box while I do this, and then we can address those too. So the first thing is to address whether or not you be doing all the things or not. Okay, that's really, really important. Figure out what is strategically important for your business and only do those things. And remember, it's not forever. Take it like a quarter at a time, 12 weeks at a time, 4 weeks at a time, and see how it feels. Try on Facebook, try on Instagram, give it a good amount of time so that you're testing it. And if it doesn't work, stop it. But give it enough time so that you've got proper metrics so that you know if it's working or not. Okay? So question what you need to be doing and test fully, what you're doing, commit fully to that thing. Secondly, don't forget that you can outsource. There's lots of tasks that you shouldn't be doing. So outsource what you can. Thirdly, you need to prioritize those things that are really important. So spend the time that you are the most awake, the most excited, the most creative, doing the things that move your needle forward in the business. So I even would go as far as saying, maybe even schedule a day, block that day off for just marketing. And then spend the rest of the time doing the fun stuff in your business, the making and the creating and all that, because you can, when we're talking about scheduling, you can schedule ahead posts and social media and content and all that. That's a real big thing as well, so schedule or prioritize and schedule your time and schedule ahead. That's also a good point. Commit to yourself. Honor your commitments that you've made and honor the boundaries that you've made with your family and other things that might encroach on your time that you've put to your business. So I feel like I just talked for like 20 minutes. I would love if you have any questions. If you're on here live, go ahead and write your questions in the chat box. And if you have any questions while you're watching the replay, I'm happy to answer that. Just to use hashtag replay so that I know that you're watching the replay and we can address those questions. I'll come back in and answer any comments. So that's kind of it. Now, so next week, I'm open to suggestions of what you'd like to talk about. If you have any questions or any topic you'd like to see covered, also just write that in and I will be happy to do that. And so no cup of tea today. I just realized I didn't even make a cup of tea this morning. What kind of a morning has it been? But I've had coffee, so plenty of that. So I hope that you are having a great day wherever you are in the world. And I will, like I say, available for questions. And I will see you next week for Biz Chat Tuesday, which it seems to have called itself, unless I come up with a better name. So I'll talk to y'all soon.